So this book I've spoken about so much on the channel, and I have finished it. I took my sweet time with it because I really loved it. And this is The Diary of Frida Kahlo. Now this is Frida Kahlo's actual diary. It was never meant to be published, so whether you think that is right or wrong, she never made this to be in the public realm at all. So years after she died, it was published. I'll show you the layout quickly. So it has loads of drawings in it, and then it'll have like passages of writing, and then the English translations are at the back. So then you have to flip to the back and you have it like this. So there's boxes, and then underneath will be the direct translation of what she put on the page, and then there'll be an interpretation of what she meant, which I didn't think I was going to love but adored, because they'll say at this time she just had a surgery, so maybe she's meaning this. At this time she was in this country, so maybe she's referring to this, and that really helped me out with the reading. But at some parts they're like, I literally don't know what she's saying, like I don't know. This is diary as in, this is how I'm feeling. It's thoughts, it's imageries, it's stuff about political movements and about the world and how she wants to see the world change. A lot of this is talking about different surgeries that she's had, because throughout her life she had loads of different surgeries, and at the end of the book she had her leg amputated. So it's a lot of her talking about the amputation. A lot of it is about Diego, who was her husband. Now what I would say is, don't get this book if you don't know anything about Frida Kahlo, because this is her thoughts and feelings. Some of it I didn't draw a lot from. They were like lists of words, and I didn't quite know where she was going with them. I didn't know what she was doing. Even the interpretation, I was like, I wouldn't have drawn that from that. I don't know. I think she was just listing words. She just was feeling things and wanted to put it out. Because this isn't meant to be published, there's a lot of pages in that I felt I couldn't really interpret, but because I knew a lot about her life, I could draw certain conclusions. So if you don't know a lot about her, and you don't know a lot about her husband Diego, their relationship and them separately, I don't think you're going to enjoy this book very much. If you don't know a lot about Mexico at that time, like brief understanding of Mexican politics at the time, that will help you out with this whole thing as well. Brief understanding of her political leanings, that will help you out as well. Because to go into this will seem very baffling and odd to you. So Diego, her husband, they were married for many years, they got divorced, they got remarried, they were very much in love. But they had loads of affairs with each other, and she had affairs with men and women, and so that is kind of referenced in here as well, because she's writing to one of the people she had an affair with at one bit, but then it's never referenced again. But basically what happened is, early on in their relationship he cheated on her, and they were very much in love. It's beyond sexual relationship and everything. So she said, okay, we're not going to have sex with each other, we're going to have affairs with different people. So there are different people within the book that is kind of known that she had affairs with, but there's no facts, there's no factual evidence. And it is so odd that I love many different historical figures and people, and I draw different conclusions to their lives, but obviously I didn't know them and I don't know that much about them. So to read her own words, I feel like I was so wrong. If I like paths on different things, I was like, oh, I was so wrong. And like her and Diego, I thought she loved him and he didn't love her back. Wrong, because throughout the book she's talking about how gentle and kind and how loving he is, and it's so beautiful. And I really liked it to my relationship, because my boyfriend is very gentle, and Diego, her husband, was known for being very gentle. And so she talks about that and how the love of a gentle man is like the best thing you can have. And I 100% get that too. And I also felt that they were just connected so like soul to soul, so it didn't matter that they didn't have sex. They spent so much time together, and their like souls were connected, and they were dedicated to each other, and their lives were like an offering to each other. You just had this really awe and this sense. And there is also a bit in it where she says she can get very fiery moods because she's had all these operations and she's very tired with life, and that's throughout the book. She says how tired she is with life, and death would be freedom to her because she's in so much pain, physical pain. And she talks about how when she winds Diego up, other men would react, whereas Diego is so kind and understanding, he just wants to comfort her. And I liked all that, because sometimes I can be a snappy little beast and other men would maybe be snappy back at me or aggressive, and my boyfriend is never like that. He's always like, are you okay? What's wrong? And that is very attractive to me. I know to some women they don't like that. They want a macho man, they want someone to kind of boss them around a little bit, they like all that. Not at all. not for me, sweetheart. Frida Kahlo, people believe, committed suicide. I think she committed suicide as well. And at the end of the book, she talks about suicide, and I was like, I don't want to read it, like, no, because I know what happened. So she says in it that her and Diego have had a conversation, and she's in so much pain. At this point, she's had her leg amputated and she's in pain every day, that she would like to commit suicide, and Diego basically says no. So at the end of the book, she's talking about how she's only living for Diego, and Diego is pleading with her, and you feel this real desperation within him, because I always had kind of a view of Diego that he would like kind of love Frida, but not that much, because after Frida Kahlo died, he went on to remarry. He married someone else. So I kind of didn't think that he was that connected to her, but oh my god, he was, because throughout the book he's showering her with so much love, and then at the end of the book she's talking about how like he's showering her with even more love because they've spoken about suicide, and he's told her that he loves her, and so he's trying to kind of power her with his love, and that is just so heartbreaking and tragic. And I always used to think, how could he remarry after my Frida? But now I think, oh, but he did say to her, like, I love you, live for me, I'm gonna live for you. And then she committed suicide. To him it must have been almost like a bit of a betrayal, like this saddening betrayal. So why not remarry? Because he told her how he felt. And also I used to feel that I had so many conclusions, now they're like blown away. I used to feel like Frida Kahlo's suicide was such a tragedy, and that maybe she could have like held on and medicine would have progressed more. But I don't see it that way anymore, because she held on for so long. The whole book is her talking about the operation she's had, the physical agony she is, the toll that her body has taken and it cannot take anymore. And I felt almost uplifted that she committed suicide at the end. I know it sounds terrible, but I really did. I felt like she found freedom. Throughout the book she draws angel wings, and all the angel wings are broken. And there's a bit in it which I tabbed, where something says, where are you going? And she said, I'm not going anywhere because I have broken wings. So like her angel wings are broken, she can't fly. And then one of the last pictures she draws is herself with wings that work, that aren't broken, these beautiful big wings. And then she commits suicide, and it was so poignant and emotional, and I felt like I feel like she wouldn't want this published. Let me say that first, because in this she's talking about herself in a very open and honest way. She talks about her relationship, and she kind of says like she doesn't want to say these things to people, how she's feeling so down. So I don't think she would have wanted this published, but I think reading it you get such an understanding of her, and that she wasn't a perfect person, and that nobody is perfect. And she even says like, at times I fly off the handles at Diego and I'm not the nicest person to be around, but he is so soft and gentle and is always there for me, and at times I get so depressed and within my own head I can't communicate with other people, and he is always there for her. And it was just, their love was so beautiful. My generation, when we talk about love and everything, it's grand gestures, it's big bouquets of flowers, and it's a beautiful card and a holiday, whereas their love is just talking and having a communication with each other, and it's just so true. And whenever you read romance novels and they're like, he took her off in his plane and he bought her a bunch of flowers, like that to me isn't true love. That to me is doing what you think is love. But this is true love. Like when someone is at their worst, when someone has had an operation and they're snapping and they can't love themselves and they can't love anyone else, Diego was there for her. Neither of them are perfect people, but together they are so perfect. And even though they had affairs, their love wasn't about physical stuff or sex, it was just they were soulmates. They were meant to be together. He was meant to be there for her. I think if Diego and her hadn't been together, she would have committed suicide a lot earlier on, because she does talk about living for Diego, and he's the only reason that keeps her alive, because he's so loving, and that love to her is like such warmth. It's almost like she's cold and she's stiff and she can't move, and yet Diego comes along and he covers her in this blanket of like warmth, which keeps her going and keeps her living. I loved this, but I feel like some people maybe won't, because some of it is babbling. Like, you know, I would never want my journal. Jesus, my journal is so bitchy. Whenever I fall out with someone, I'm like, she is disgusting, she is, and then next week I'll be like, hi, meeting up with her, yeah, we're back friends. But it's stuff that I haven't fallen out with someone, it's just within my head. I'm like, oh, she cancelled today, it's like that fire and rage, and then like after I've written it and I read it back, I'm like, Hannah, calm down, like she had a dentist appointment, sweetheart. Because it was never meant to be published, it's very difficult to find sense in some of it. It's difficult, so you have to kind of work with it. It's not a quick read, but I loved it. But that's because I love anything to do with Frida Kahlo. So I loved it. I thought the drawings were beautiful and stunning, and there was a bit in it which talks about her friend's death, which just, oh, was so beautiful, and her friends left behind a daughter. I just thought the whole thing, the whole book was such it felt like a love letter to everyone in her life, because she talks about how lucky she is to have everyone, so it's that kind of love letter to them all, but then also about the human spirit and about how much she went through, how many operations she went through, how many hurdles, to the point where she had to have her leg amputated and she was bedbound, all these different things, and that she keeps on going, and it was just the greatest love story as well. Love story to the world, to herself, to Diego. It was just beautiful. So yeah, they're my thoughts and feelings. If you read this, please let me know and we can chat.